Welcome to the WriterDojo with your host, Steve Diamond.
And I'm here.
And Larry Correia.
Sup, boys?
This week, the Kickstarter episode.
Welcome back, everybody. Larry, I'd like to congratulate ourselves for not being dead yet. So, high five.
Yeah, Steve survived COVID.
I did.
So, I've survived COVID. Producer Jack almost died of COVID.
This is true.
Of all of us that I know, everybody I know, he got it like the worst.
Yeah, mine wasn't too rough. It was just the exhaustion, and I'm still super congested. So, forgive me, listeners, for that. All right, today, Larry, what I want to start off with is a Q&A. We've had a bunch of questions through email from some of our supporters, and then we got one on Twitter that I thought was pretty topical because of the recency of it, and it has to do with Brandon Sanderson's Kickstarter. Yeah,
this is a current event one. So as we're recording it, this Kickstarter just wrapped up.
Yeah, it just ended.
Last week.
Yeah, Brandon clocked in at about 41.7 million,
which is absolutely mind-boggling.
It's freaking awesome.
That is an amazing feat.
Yeah.
I believe this is like the highest Kickstarter ever by
almost double,
which is frankly astounding.
And I hope what everyone's hearing from the both of us is, we're like stoked for him.
Yeah, no, I've seen a lot of writers get kind of butthurt. We'll talk about this today, but I've seen some writers get like butthurt and bitter and jealous. And no, that's kind of stupid. I look at it more as a rising tide lifts all boats.
Exactly.
And so I'm happy for the guy because honestly, that's pretty amazing. And we're going to talk about what this means to like industry and to our particular industry. So I think the first half of this episode we'll probably wind up talking about this one. Maybe second half we'll answer some more questions.
Yeah, I think we can do that.
Because this is kind of a big one.
Yeah, it's big. And so again, first off, big virtual high fives to Brandon. Freaking almost 42 million is awesome.
Yeah, mad props to Brandon. He's got a huge team too.
He does. I think he has somewhere around the vicinity of like 10 folk.
Yeah, I think he's hired pretty much everybody he's ever known as far as like
pretty
went
much.
to school with her.
Yeah.
Of his guys,
family.
Of his guys that work there though, he's got one guy, Isaac.
Isaac is awesome.
Well,
and Isaac's wife is awesome as well.
Yeah. Isaac actually did the map for Son of the Black Sword.
I know.
Yeah.
It was great.
Beautiful map. No, so I really hope that Isaac gets a huge bonus.
Man, I hope so.
Honestly, you I don't know about everybody else, but I'm rooting for him to get a big fat bonus out of this.
Yeah, Isaac's fantastic. We've both known him for quite a while.
Yeah, good dude.
Super talented artist, especially when it comes to cartography. Okay. So when Brandon made his little tongue-in-cheek, I've been hiding a secret from you announcement, and it popped up. I remember seeing it, and it went nuts immediately. I mean, I blinked, and I think it was at 7 million.
Yeah, it cleared several $1 million like right out the gate.
And I remember thinking, oh wow, this is pretty good. But it'll probably slow down here, to the end of the day.
Nope.
And that didn't happen. My initial prediction, and this is after I think day 1 or 2, I thought that it would clear 30, just based off Kickstarter velocity.
Yeah, where you get the big couple first 3 days.
Big spike in the front. I mean, you've done Kickstarters.
I've done a couple Kickstarters, and I've had some pretty successal Kickstarters by author standards, but nothing like this.
Yeah.
Like this just crushed mine by orders of magnitude.
Oh, it was murderous.
Oh yeah. I mean, because I've done games on Kickstarter.
You've done 2 games,
yeah,
right?
I've done a role-playing game, Monster Hunter role-playing games on Kickstarter. We've cleared over 100 grand. We did merchandise, and I think we cleared 100 grand.
And you did coins, right?
Oh yeah.
The challenge coins, right?
So I've done a few and been pretty successful. But this what we just saw with Brandon was some next level stuff.
Yeah,
but we'll talk about why he's a unique specimen. One of the things people were asking us is like, how does this affect the rest of the industry?
Right.
Is the rest of the industry just going to forsake their publishers?
No.
And just go kickstart everything?
Absolutely not, Larry. Absolutely not.
No, that's not going to happen.
So the thing that people need to understand about Brandon, and I've known Brandon for a super long time. I met him
15 years.
Yeah, I met him when Elantris came out for the first time in bookstores. That was in ye olden days when Steve, when I was being called the bookstore guy.
Yeah.
And that's how I'm credited in a lot of Brandon's acknowledgments.
Yeah. I want to say he started about 5 years before I did.
It was in 2006.
4 years, something like that.
2005 or 6 is when Elantris came out.
Okay,
because he was nominated for the
2006?
Campbell
Okay, so
for the Hugos in 2006.
So 4 years.
Yeah.
Because the first time
you were 9, right?
Yeah, the first time I met Brandon was at my very first con in Utah, a little con that went away. I can't remember its name anymore.
Was that Conduit?
I think it was Mountain Con.
Oh, I don't remember that one.
Yeah, it was like a little one. And Brandon was a guest. And the reason he was getting mobbed is he had just got, they had just announced that he was writing the finale of Wheel of Time.
Right.
And so a fairly new author, and he was just surrounded by this mob of like huge fans. And they were just like, cursing him that you'd better get this writer. We're going to kill you.
He went into a rough situation.
No, it was interesting. But then so I met the guy, and he was super cool. And I was brand new. I just barely had my first publishing contract. So he took me out to dinner and wound up giving me a bunch of business advice of stuff that he had wished he'd known when he had first written his first book.
Now, from what I remember, and part of I don't remember the exact timing of all this. So 2006 was when I went to that first convention down in LA. It was that Worldcon in LA. And that was when he was nominated the year that Scalzi won the Campbell, right? It was him. I honestly don't remember who else was nominated that year besides Brandon and Scalzi.
I have no idea.
So anyway, we were there and this was in the days when Brandon had to share rooms with people.
Oh yeah, back when he was a normal person, poor.
Yeah. But shortly thereafter, I'm trying to think when this was. Shortly thereafter, he was starting to do pretty good. This was probably right after he got the news about Wheel of Time.
Yeah.
And then he started hiring people. Okay. He hired an old friend of his named Peter Ahlstrom, who was an editor for a manga house. And so Peter Ahlstrom kind of became his sort of personal assistant, personal editor. And then Emily, his wife, is the one that was doing a lot of finances over there. And Emily's freaking rad.
And then his brother Jordo keeps him sane and grounded. Otherwise, you guys got to know, Brandon, the reason the guy can write 4 books on the side and no one knows about it is because if you left Brandon to his own devices, he would turn into Howard Hughes.
Oh yeah.
And he'd be walking around in a bathrobe wearing Kleenex boxes for shoes. So Jordo, I think, is the guy that keeps him connected to human reality.
That's definitely what happened in the beginning.
I don't know about now. That's how it was years ago.
I don't know. I mean,
I have no idea now.
But you got to understand that's where Brandon came from. And so as the years have gone by and as he got more and more successful because of all of the various, the Wheel of Time obviously was the big thing. That was the big catalyst.
Well, the thing people need to forget here too, career-wise, I mean, the guy has done really well because nobody hustles more than he does.
Right.
No one works harder. He's the GOAT when it comes to hustle. And I say that as a compliment. I mean, that's coming from me.
Oh,
that's
yeah,
huge.
absolutely.
When I say go to hustle, I mean it. That's a big deal, guys. But people need to realize getting that Wheel of Time deal, that gave his career like a 20-year head start mega boost.
So before that, the big book that came out before that started garnering the attention of Tor and Robert Jordan's widow.
Mistborn,
was
wasn't
the
it?
first Mistborn.
Yeah. Great book.
No, it's a great book.
Yeah.
And, Brandon was doing pretty well. He was a solid, probably mid-list, low mid-list author at that point.
Yeah, I don't think Elantris was a bestseller, was it?
No, not even close.
No, okay.
No. And Mistborn wasn't a bestseller at the time, I don't think.
Not at first.
No, it became one. It became one. Deservedly so. It's awesome. But throughout all that whole process, he started hiring people and doing things. Now, what I don't know is if he intentionally did this from the start. I kind of doubt it. Or if this was one of those happy accidents. It's like when you're writing a story, Larry, and you're writing along and then, 2/3 of the way or 2/3 of the way through the book, 3/4 of the way through the book, you look back and you think, man, that thing I accidentally wrote back there was super good. That turned out to be really great foreshadowing. I'm totally pretending I did that on purpose.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I do that all the time.
And so I kind of wonder if I imagine that in the very, very beginning, that's how this went for Brandon. But at a certain point, I believe, and I kind of know to a degree, that a lot of this was intentional. He saw the writing on the wall. He saw where his career was going. He saw the trajectory, and he's like, I can make myself into a brand. And that's what he did.
Yeah, definitely. The dude is the all-time master of brand because he has books come out across like multiple genres.
Yeah.
And people don't care because they buy it because it's a Brandon Sanderson novel.
That's right.
I got that to a lesser extent too, because like most of my fans will follow me from genre to genre just because it's a Larry Correia novel. They'll buy it, they're happy. Brandon is the all-time master of that, and plus his fan base that will do that.
They're rabid.
Okay, so he was 42 million. How many people was that? How many thousands of people bought? I didn't look at that. We'll have to look that up.
It was over 100.
It was like 100,000 people.
Oh, it was well over that.
You can understand, guys, that's a huge number of fans. If you can, as a writer, get a core group of 10,000 fans,
that's awesome.
You're awesome. Like on my fan page, I got about 10,000 people that will reliably buy pretty much what I write when it comes out. Let's see. So he had 185,000 backers.
That's
huge.
Of those backers, we can do some back of the napkin math. 44,000 of them just did ebook.
Okay, that makes sense.
Now, from a business side, that's really freaking awesome.
Well, because there's no
pure
print
profit.
costs on those.
That's pure profit, basically.
Yeah, he's just printing electrons for books that are already done.
And then he had another 40 that were just audio. Okay.
Okay. Only got to record it once.
There's a one-time sunk cost fee for that. That's it.
Yep.
Just a one-time setup fee.
With the money he got, I'm sure he's going to hire some top-tier amazing narrators.
I'd be willing to bet he gets the same people to do like Wheel of Time stuff.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll.
Kate Redding and whatever that other dude's name is.
He should call
Michael Kramer.
He should call Bronson Pinchot.
He absolutely should, because I personally think that both Bronson and Ollie, Tim Gerard Reynolds, they're all way better
He should call my narrator. My narrator, I got better narrators than
you. Absolutely do.
My narrators are the best. He should call Adam Baldwin.
So that's about 80,000 of the 180.
Okay.
So you got to figure that's 100,000 folk who bought print books. Okay, more or less.
And didn't he do like a $200 package?
Oh, it went all the way up to 500.
Yes. Wow. So guys, the key here is when people are like, well, this just shows you can quit your publishing house. No. The real lesson to be taken here is about building your brand.
Building your brand and
getting people who will follow you.
Yeah, and I think that's the key, Larry. It's the understanding of how you interact with and treat your fan base.
Now, that said, though, there is the interesting element of if you have a guy who's a powerhouse superstar writer like Brandon.
Yeah.
And if you guys if you want a funny read, go onto my blog and look on the Monster Hunter Nation and look up the alphabetical list of author success.
Is there one higher than A?
No, we have to. Are we
going to have to rewrite this?
I'm going to have to rewrite this because Brandon is now like an exclamation point that comes before the alphabet. Because this is something that not even J.K. Rowling or Stephen King or George Martin ever did.
Not yet, though they could.
No, see, but people that big could do something like this.
They absolutely could.
Now, that lesson and the real lesson, I guess, for the vast majority of us writers, this doesn't really change much business-wise. What it does change, though, is for publishing houses. His publishing house had better be kissing his butt.
Oh, for sure.
They need to be.
That's what they need to understand, Larry, because Brandon has proven now that his fan base will act independently of the branding on the side of the book.
Yeah, he could bail from his publishing houses.
And he'll do better.
And he'd do better because he also has a cadre of employees that would do all the stuff for him that a publishing house would do. He gets no benefit.
Now let's pretend some numbers for a minute so people understand how big
we just guess.
This is total back of the napkin math.
Yeah.
Okay.
From a professional CFO.
Yeah. So who also has printed specialty novels and knows what the profit margins are.
Yeah, so your back of the napkin is a bit better than
my
average.
Back of the napkin is more of like a ledger. So okay. So each of these books are about $40. Okay. And he says they're premium hardbacks, which means I know the kind of paper he's going to use. I know more or less the binding quality.
So what's your cost on one of those? Like,
so
a couple bucks.
Today it's different.
Oh yeah, because paper's shot up so dramatically.
Now if it's leather bound and such.
Quick note for those listening: there is a delay on the second and third volume of Hard Magic.
The print okay. So
Steve's working on it.
Yeah, because I know that's a question. So Spellbound, the print file was approved this morning.
Oh, okay.
So, But here,
Don't
here-
yell
but
at
here-
Steve.
but here's
Yell
the
at
thing.
COVID and Gretchen Whitmer.
But here's the thing. In the interim, because of all the shortages and COVID and everything, the cost per volume of those books went up by about 70%.
Oh,
Okay. Now, whatever.
yeah, that sucks.
Okay. Now, all that being said, now I'm using a little bit higher quality materials than Brandon will likely be using on this. Okay. But even then, I'm assuming that the per cost book, because of the quantity of books that are being printed per
Well, yeah,
per
'cause it's a
thing,
huge print run by specialty book standards.
anywhere from 80,000 to 100,000 books.
Yeah.
Per volume.
And he'll print extras because he's going to
And
sell
he'll print so many freaking extras. So
and sell those forever.
because of scale, economies of scale and all that, his cost per book, I'm going to assume somewhere, I don't know, let's call it seven or $8.
$8? Okay, so all right, about $8. Okay.
Okay.
And he's selling them for 40?
But just for the sake of easy math, let's say it was $10.
Okay.
Okay. Which I think is high. That means he has a 75% royalty or margin on that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, Larry, on a normal hardback book, say, Servants of War or whatever.
Yeah. That the author collects?
Yep. It's what, anywhere from 10 to 15%, depending on where you're at.
I'm trying to remember. See, I want to say hardcover's like 20.
Is it up that high? I don't think it's that high.
Is it that? I don't know.
So-
I have to go look.
So anyway, let's pretend, for the sake of argument, say you're a rock star and it's 20% on a hardback. That's also $40. Okay. Math says that's $8 that you're getting versus 30.
Yep.
More than triple per book. So you got to understand, this is why so many independent authors and so many big authors are looking at this and saying, dang, this is crazy.
Yeah.
This is a lot of freaking money coming his way.
For the powerhouse authors who have that huge entrenched fan base, honestly, they're going to be asking themselves right now after this Kickstarter closed, because obviously they won't do $42 million just because they're not branded.
They don't have to.
But they don't have to. If you could make $1 million and keep 75% of it, well, which they're not due, because don't keep my Kickstarter people don't forget Kickstarter also takes a fee.
Yeah, but between Kickstarter and credit card fees, it's a total of 10%.
Yeah, so let's say if you make $1 million, they get 900,000, and then they keep
They keep $100,000 for themselves.
Yeah,
right.
that's still far more.
Your profit margin at the end of the day
Is much higher.
I mean, it's probably 50% total.
So the real question is going to be and actually, you know what? We need to take a break, but we're going to keep talking about this subject.
We'll come back and
we've
we'll
seen
keep
some other
talking
writer
about it.
Kickstarters, and I guess this is kind of turned into the writer Kickstarter episode.
Yeah, that's fine. That works. All right, we'll be right back.
A small-town cop receives an inheritance from his recently dead wife, except she had already been murdered years before. While dying, gunshot in the middle of a crossroads, a man's blood summons a crossroads demon who then convinces him to enforce her deals by becoming her hellhound. A mobile city fleeing from Keiju becomes self-aware and begins stalking a woman living within. Recently home from serving in Vietnam, an ex-soldier discovers the corpse of his wife killed as part of an eldritch ritual. What Hellhounds Dream and Other Stories collects 15 of Steve Diamond's chilling short stories, along with commentary on each tale. What Hellhounds Dream and Other Stories, available on Amazon or wherever fine books are sold. Pick up your copy today.
All right, welcome back, everybody. We're going to talk a little bit more about this whole thing, and then at the very end, if we still have a little bit of time for a question or two, we'll do it. Otherwise, we'll just do another Q&A session. It's not like we don't have more time.
Yeah.
So
we were talking about Brandon being kind of a unique specimen amongst writers.
Yeah.
I mean, he this is definitely, like I said, we have to add a new layer to the alphabetical list of author success.
I mean, all the people out there, I saw quite a few comments, Larry, and I think you saw the same ones, saying, "Oh, well, this is the death of all traditional publishing," and that's kind of crap.
I think that's and people have been predicting that since I started writing 12 years ago.
It's been predicted since like the year 2000.
Yeah, and so every year it's like everybody keeps talking about the death of traditional publishing. It's evolved and it's changed, and there are big things that come and go. I don't know what's going to happen. No one really knows what the future holds.
The thing that I think that this illustrates more than anything else is, one, that you should be interacting with and cultivating your fan base, much like you do.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that's the key. If you're indie or traditional,
And I think what this further illustrates, Larry, is that for any authors who have a measure of clout, I mean, obviously, if you're at a Brandon level, this is a no-brainer. But even guys who are missing a few zeros, some of the mid-list authors who still have pretty good, like a good loyal fan base and stuff like that. I think all this shows is that for them, if you're not kind of going the hybrid version of publishing, you're leaving money on the table.
yeah, there's a lot of opportunities that writers don't think of. As I think you just need to watch for those. Well, because like we were going to talk about another Kickstarter of an author we know who's a great guy, very talented, been around for a long time, very successful.
I mean, I grew up reading him.
Yeah, Kevin J. Anderson.
Kevin Anderson, yeah.
He just barely had a Kickstarter too. Much more normal amounts of money. I think the lesson could be learned for more of us is from what Kevin just did.
Mm-hmm.
And he did a Kickstarter for one of his books for his Dan Shambles series, which is a zombie detective comedy. I blurbed those books.
They're funny.
They're funny. They're funny, very punny, very silly. Actually, get some poignant moments though, because Kevin's a good writer.
Yeah.
But Kevin did. Steve's looking at his Kickstarter right now. What's he at? He's
almost at 46,000, and at the time of recording this, he's got about an hour left in his Kickstarter.
Okay.
So now everyone will know exactly when we recorded this.
Yeah. So we recorded this. You guys know exactly. No. So I think there's a lesson for writers here. We can take a look at this now. Obviously, you're like, oh wow, 46,000. That's nothing compared to 42 million. Well,
correct.
No, but here's the kicker. This is for a series that basically he was done at Regulars Publishing. Kevin decided to just do this on his own for fun.
Through Wordfire Press.
Yeah, and so that's Kevin's imprint.
Yep, and that's where Residue is published.
Oh
currently.
yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
And so Kevin has his own small press.
Mm-hmm.
So he's doing it through this. We decided to do a Kickstarter basically as an experiment. He's thrown in as extras basically like ebooks that he's already done before.
Yeah.
Which his cost on that is
a lot of the Kevin J. Anderson classics. I mean, the dude's written more books than most people have read in their life.
He's written when we talk about IP writing, Kevin is, I think we mentioned him, Kevin and Jonathan Mayberry are probably the two biggest
they're
IP
kind of the
writers.
goats for that. They're kind of the goats for IP writing.
Yeah, I would say Kevin's probably the most diverse of, like, he's written for every major IP there is.
Sure.
I would say. And just, if you watch Dune, he had a title card at the end as an advisor.
That was so awesome to see.
I cheered for him when we saw that.
Yeah. Yeah, because we were sitting next to each other, yeah.
The funny thing is he was really ticked about, like, after the Oscars, everybody was paying attention to Will Smith at the Oscars, and Kevin's like, man, the movie I consulted on won 6 Academy Awards, and no one's talking about that because they're talking about Will Smith. But so I think a lesson for authors here is let's take a look at Kevin's and what he did.
Okay, so the main thing here is Kevin, it was a Kickstarter for the newest book in his series called Double Booked. And then on top of that, if he made enough money, the idea was to basically reskin, rebrand all the previous books in the series,
So
give them
they'll
new
have
covers,
cool matching covers.
Yeah, cool. I mean that's important.
The new covers are way better.
As a guy who used to run a bookstore, having really good art, really good cover design, and having a series that is uniform in that artwork and design, especially if it's good, is extremely important. And Kevin knows this better than we do. I mean, he knew this before I was out of high school. So you got to understand that the whole reason why Kevin is doing this is there's a different intent here. This is kind of a niche project. This isn't like some big thing like Dune. I'm sure if a new Dune novel was kickstarted, it would probably make a stupid amount of money.
Right now, yeah.
But this was almost, I don't want to call it a vanity project, but it's a personal project of Kevin's. It's a fun thing that he loves.
It's a series he really enjoys.
Yeah. And so $46,000. Now you're thinking, oh, that's not very much. But for a single book in 1 year.
Well, and also as we broke down the percentages earlier, it's going to be similar.
Yeah.
So he's keeping the vast majority of that.
Yeah. So say he keeps, I don't know, 35,000 of that. Now think about your personal situations in your day jobs and stuff. What would you do with earning $35,000 that you're basically keeping pre-tax? Of course, sorry, taxes are always going to kill you.
Taxes
Taxes are
can't
crap.
be helped.
Well,
It can, but not.
Harkening back to one of our earliest episodes, taxation is theft. So that 35,000, I mean, you got to understand that that's a good half to 60-70% of the average median income for a home in the United States.
Yeah. Now, if this
That's
was
pretty dang good.
I'm sure he's got regular mainstream series books that he's selling through other publishers he makes a lot more money off of.
Mm-hmm.
But if this is a one-off kind of thing for a series that's not as well known, not as popular, but he gets to like reskin his existing series, and he's going to keep selling those forever.
Yeah.
So he gets a good chunk of change. He gets, for Kevin, this is probably a couple months of income because he makes, good money. And it's basically just kind of a fun project. I mean, obviously you want to always do more, but think about it, guys. 45 grand is a chunk of money.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Most writers.
There's quite a few other Kickstarters that kind of fit in the same range. Now,
we've seen a lot of anthology Kickstarters.
So many anthology
of those
Kickstarters.
now.
Thank goodness, right?
Because that's actually kind of revitalized the short fiction market, where someone will pick up a theme for an anthology, they'll kickstart it. Because the thing is, guys, you can understand about like short fiction anthologies just don't sell that well.
On rare occasion.
Monster Hunter.
The Monster Hunter one sells pretty good.
The Monster Hunter Files is money. That anthology is friggin' nuts.
We need part 2, Larry.
Yeah, that's on me.
I need to buy a new smoker.
That's on me. Well, and that's that anthology. I think everybody in that anthology has made a lot.
I've made
more
lot.
More than most of us made off our first novels.
For sure.
So you guys did for a short story. So that's that.
Oh, yeah.
That one you guys understand, guys. That one's an anomaly, though. Most anthologies don't do that. So the fact that people are kickstarting more anthologies, that's actually a great business opportunity.
Now we've talked about 2 established traditional pubbed authors who have gone the route of Kickstarter for that. Now, the big question then is, well, what about all the self-published people?
Well, I think would come down to that. The biggest question is, how big is your fan base? Audience?
Yep. So there's a guy, Michael J. Sullivan. He was successful indie before successful indie was cool, right? Tons of fantasy stuff. I've not personally read it, so I can't vouch for any quality.
Don't know the guy.
But for example, so I'm looking at one of his Kickstarters right now. This was back in, I think, 2020. He's completely self-published, and he raised 120 grand for his new book.
Okay.
Pretty freaking good.
Well, people don't realize too, is it's not going to be only 120 grand he's going to make at that, because he's going to continue selling the book.
Mm-hmm.
And so he got that much up front. That's more than most people are getting as an advance off of a traditionally published book. We've talked about that too. People think advances are huge because they hear about the huge ones in the news.
Yeah, or the political ones.
Those are the ones that make the news.
Yeah.
For a reason. Usually it's marketing. Most of us, our first book advances are, $5 grand,
mm-hmm.
10 grand.
Yeah.
Maybe bigger. I mean, sometimes 50 grand. But that's rare.
That's pretty high.
And even then, most of the guys I know that got that recently have been for multiple books.
Yeah. And they do the basket accounting thing.
Which is just,
which is trash.
That's horrible. I feel bad for people on that.
So I hope what everybody is hearing here is that this whole Kickstarter thing, what Brandon has done, a lot of this is because he worked his butt off in advance and got it. Okay. So for those of you who have kids out there, both Larry and I, obviously we have our families and kids and whatnot.
Yep.
Now, when the kids were young, when, they're newborn and everything, you go through a year basically where it's just day in and day out, and it feels like you're just training the kid all day.
Oh man, they're horrible at first.
And it's rough.
It's so hard.
But the idea is the more effort you put in there, the less upkeep you have down the road.
And if
right?
you do a really good job when they're little, when they turn into teenagers, they're actually not bad.
Yeah, they're actually not holy terrors.
They're actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
You could tell the ones that the parents didn't put in the time early because their teenagers are total garbage.
Yeah. And their toddlers are running circles around the table at restaurants.
The little kids are like destroying everything in the
throwing
Walmart.
crayons at everyone.
Yeah, no. If you put in the time early, later on, life is a lot easier. The writing career is a whole lot like that.
Exactly. And to the point of Brandon's Kickstarter, it's the same thing. He put in all of that effort up front over years. And I mean, what's the joke that we always say, Larry, that it's, it was really cool that we worked 10 years to become an overnight success.
Yeah, I love that. Was like, wow, you just came out of nowhere, you're an overnight success. And it's like, I've been doing this for 10 years. What are you talking about? Yeah, Brandon is that. Brandon has put in the time, and where he excels is the man works. He works and works and works, and he's good and he's consistent.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
And he's built up a very good, stable business on, behind the scenes, basically behind the curtains.
Yeah, that's the thing. His marketing cadre and fulfillment group is second to none. Nobody else in writing has anything anywhere near what he has.
And I think that's the big key is all these people saying, well, everyone should just be doing what Brandon's doing. It's like, okay, cool. So in 10 years,
there ain't nothing stopping you.
In 15 years, when you've built up that size of fan base and have established all of those processes for your business and have, 4 other people working for you that can understand how to fulfill, tens of thousands of shipments.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can totally do that.
The only thing that he got that other writers didn't get is the Wheel of Time thing. And let's be honest, that alone doesn't mean you could do something like this, because we've seen other writers who have been given like these amazing opportunities where their name could get connected to an amazing, huge, big property, and they squandered it.
Mm-hmm.
And we try not to name names of people who suck or have failed on this show. We try to celebrate the successes and not,
Yeah, sure.
But we can think of people who they were given like golden opportunities where it's like, here is a huge, huge book. This is like a big deal. It's connected to like giant IP, and you get to have the flagship.
You're the first person who gets to write in the new Star Wars series.
I'll try not to name names here, Steve.
I didn't name any names.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. If like you're rebooting the entire Star Wars universe, the most valuable IP in all of human history, are you going to turn in a quality work for that you like will be connected to your name? It's already going to be #1 New York Times.
Just by default.
If you blew your nose in a napkin and published that, it would be a #1 bestseller. Okay, because everybody's so eager to see what this is going to be.
Or are you going to write, I don't know, something that's a little wibbly and wobbly and Hercules and jerky.
He just blew his nose into the tissue and published it. And so this is the kind of thing, guys. Brandon was given this golden opportunity, but you know what he did? He took that golden opportunity and he killed it. He absolutely killed it. He turned in a really good quality product, and the loyal old time fans loved it. And because of that, they bought all his other stuff and they bought all his new stuff.
Well, and the thing is he has now established a new status quo for himself. So anytime any new book that he puts out that maybe one of the big publishers is like, well, I don't know, I just don't know if this is really what we want to publish right now. Brandon will be like, all right, see you, sucker.
Yeah.
And he'll just do it himself.
Well, the thing is, no publisher in the world would ever turn him down now at this point either.
You'd be surprised.
Are they that dumb? Well, yeah, that's true. Okay, now that's a stupid question to me.
No, I know,
sorry.
without getting into too many details, I know that one publisher sent back a book to him and wanted all these changes made to it. And he was just like, no.
Dummies.
And the thing is
yeah, see, that's the thing. I was asking this rhetorical
to.
question because I'm a businessman. Steve's a businessman. We have corporate backgrounds. We're like, who could possibly be that stupid to just like do? This is publishing.
Publishing. They're all stupid.
Yeah. There's a lot. I mean, I'm lucky. My publisher is not in Manhattan. My publisher is smart.
Well, and
is a businesswoman.
And they do exactly what they do for their own brand and fan group. I have to say that very carefully because it sounded like I was saying brand and fan group. See what I'm saying?
I like this episode because we try not to get political, but this is the first episode ever I can just go, let's go Brandon, and be like completely.
And it's totally legit.
Totally legit. So don't kick us off of Spotify or anything.
Well, in fact, that's what the Twitter question said. It said, I can say this. I can literally say this, and it's okay. Yeah. Let's go Brandon.
This is the one time we're not going to get yelled at. Let's go Brandon.
But so Bane, this is literally what they do. They nurture a fan base for their own brand and for their authors.
Yep.
And that's why Bane is successful, and that's why both you and I love writing for him.
Yeah. It's not a lot of like the corporate games you get at other places. No. I don't know, guys. This is a topic that I don't know if me and Steve have all the answers.
No, we
people are like,
don't.
What's this going to do? What's this mean? What's the future? Dude, if I knew what the future of publishing was, I'd be out buying stock in whatever it was.
Sure. And then, we wouldn't need all of you lovely supporters to donate 99 cents to us per month, because did you know, Larry, that for 99 cents a month, you can help support us? Help support like me and my barbecuing habit.
That's the point. Steve needs a new smoker.
I really do. And not because I want to get rid of my old one. I just want a second one. You know how many briskets I can make with 2 smokers? Dude, this is important stuff.
Steve's biggest concern of the economy is
the price of beef, dude.
Not gas prices or inflation. It's all about the price of briskets.
It's rough. I was looking back at my photo line, and I have pictures of pre-inflation brisket.
Other people have pictures of their kids.
I have brisket. And dude, it was so much cheaper.
Yeah.
Oh my heavens. Anyway, one day, listeners, Larry and I we'll just do an episode where we talk about food.
I think so.
We'll just talk about brisket and donuts and barbecue and all that stuff, and it'll be wonderful. But today,
we'll make it writing related.
But today is not that day. Today we were going to do some more questions, but we'll just do another Q&A episode
like
later.
All things Brandon is just too big.
It's too much. There wasn't, maybe we should have edited it down like his bigger books, but there was no way. There was no way. The fans expect certain things, Larry. So, all right. That's all the time we have for y'all today. Thanks so much for listening.
If this is a proper Brandon episode, this episode would be 2 hours long instead of 30 minutes.
Right. And we wouldn't have even, gotten out of the introduction.
It's a 10-episode series. I can't make it really fun. He makes too much money. He clearly knows what the hell he's doing. So
obviously.
Yeah, obviously.
I mean, goodness sakes.
Oh my gosh.
All right, everyone. Thanks again so much for listening to us. We appreciate you all, and we'll see you on the next one.
WriterDojo is Steve Diamond and Larry Correia. Produced by Jack Wilder and Bear and Hare Studios. Theme song, Word Mercenaries by Craig Nivo. New episodes come out every Wednesday wherever you stream your content. If you enjoyed this podcast, you can help support us by going to anchor.fm/WriterDojo, by leaving a 5-star rating and review, and by helping to spread the word. To advertise on the Writer Dojo, email ads@writerdojo.com. All questions and comments can be emailed to questions@writerdojo.com.
Crack, that's the sound of freedom right there, Larry.